the 2 caverns which contained the springs of the Nile. Having informed the king concerning the rise of the Nile and the other matters mentioned in his dispatch, Meter made arrangements for the king to visit the temple of Khnemu in person. This he did, and the legend gives us the king's own description of his visit. He says, "I entered the temple, and the keepers of the rolls untied them and showed them to me. I was purified by the sprinkling of holy water, and I passed through the places that were prohibited to ordinary folk, and a great offering of cakes, ale, geese, oxen, and sea, was offered up on my behalf to the gods and goddesses of Abu. Then I found the god Khnemu standing in front of me, and I propitiated him with the offerings that I made unto him, and I made prayer and supplication before him. Then he opened his eyes, and his heart inclined to me, and in a majestic manner he said unto me, I am Khnemu who fashioned thee. My 2 hands grasped thee and knitted together thy body, I made thy members sound, and I gave thee thy heart. Yet the stones have been lying under the ground for ages, and no man hath worked them in order to build a god house, to repair the sacred buildings which are in ruins, or to make shrines for the gods of the south and north, or to do what he ought to do for his Lord, even though I am the Lord the Creator. I am new, the self-created, the great God, who came into being in the beginning. I am Hep the Nile God who riseth at will to give health to him that worketh for me. I am the governor and guide of all men, in all their periods, the most great, the father of the gods, Shu, the great one, the chief of the earth. The 2 halves of heaven are my abode. The Nile is poured out in a stream by me, and it goeth round about the tilled lands, and its embrace produceth life for every one that breatheth, according to the extent of its embrace. I will make the Nile to rise for thee, and in no year shall it fail, and it shall spread its water out and cover every land satisfactorily. Plants, herbs, and trees shall bend beneath the weight of their produce. The goddess Rennet the harvest goddess shall be at the head of everything, and every product shall increase 100,000-fold, according to the cubit of the year. 2 The people shall be filled, verily to their heart's desire, yea, every one. Want shall cease, and the emptiness of the granaries shall come to an end. The land of Merer that is Egypt shall be one cultivated land, the districts shall be yellow with crops of grain, and the grain shall be good. The fertility of the land shall be according to the desire of the husbandman, and it shall be greater than it hath ever been before. At the sound of the word crops the king awoke, and the courage that then filled his heart was as great as his former despair had been. Having left the chamber of the god, the king made a decree by which he endowed the temple of Khnemu with lands and gifts, and he drew up a code of laws under which every farmer was compelled to pay certain dues to it. Every fisherman and hunter had to pay a tithe. Of the calves cast 1/10 were to be sent to the temple to be offered up as the daily offering. Gold, ivory, ebony, spices, precious stones, and woods were tithed, whether their owners were Egyptians or not, but no local tribe was to levy duty on these things on their ode to Abu. Every artisan also was to pay tithe, with the exception of those who were employed in the foundry attached to the temple, and whose occupation consisted in making the images of the gods. The king further ordered that a copy of this decree, the original of which was cut in wood, should be engraved on a stele to be set up in the sanctuary, with figures of Khnemu and his companion gods cut above it. The man who spat upon the stele if discovered was to be admonished with a rope,